All right, this is the 10 area for this year. Almost dead looking in comparison to last year. There'll definitely be lots of fun stuff to see down there, but this is during the wild and crazy Rona, so it's just pretty nice that they're even letting this even happen. You gotta wear a mask, gotta do the distancing. Let's see if we can't find someone we know, see if we can't find any cool material to cut on the channel, and see if we can't find something cool to give away to y'all. There's another area inside this building, and then the area that was at capacity is in that building. I was gonna get some drone shots, but there's really nothing to see drone wise except for this area, and I just took care of it just now. So anyway, let's go look at rocks. The rock zone, lots of cabs. Imperial Jasper from Zacatecas, Mexico. That's $8 each. Not a terrible price. Some Tiger's Eye cabs, $4 each. I actually don't mind buying this material because I really don't like cutting it. $4 isn't bad. If somebody wanted, you know, a ring or a piece of jewelry with this material, and I'd actually rather buy it to put it in there. Some of these are definitely worth more than others. This teardrop is a pretty nice cut. Great cutters. Some ruby and zoisite from India. $8 to $4 each. These are probably the $8 ones right here. Very nice.
Honestly, just the pretty ones sell at the opal.
I actually haven't cut a lot of this material myself, but I really enjoy it. Probably be cool to make some pop sockets out of this material. Montana agate, gotta love it. $6 each. Some of it's translucent, some of it's not. I love little dendrites inside of it. Very cool. Mastodon teeth. I've never heard of anybody cabbing up mastodon teeth. I've seen like the longer pieces that people find and usually sell it as a specimen. You need a mastodon teeth grill.
I already do, but
yeah.
You can't see it because I have a mask on.
That's really cool. I've cut some mastodon in the past and some walrus ivory, and it's actually pretty hard for me to cut. I don't think it does really well with diamond and water. Perhaps silicon carbide and maybe a little bit of water or no water at all. That's $6 each. Esperanza chrysocolla, $8 each. That is not a bad deal. I do love cutting this material myself, so I'd rather buy the bulk. But that is a banger. You can make a great bracelet, cuff out of that, get $250 easy. Here's a nice darker piece with some of the iron and malachite in it. Down here it almost looks like the Sonoran sunrise. Love the Botswana agate. These are $9 each. These are actually kind of hard to cut. A lot of people have a hard time cutting agates because they're so hard. Some people have cut other things like topaz or maybe some rubies or sapphire, and they might even have a little bit more success than cutting this Botswana agate or other types of agates. I think it's probably just the way it grows or something. It's kind of hard to cut. I have noticed that in the past, perhaps the best way to cut agates is not on a diamond machine. but on a machine like a Bull Wheel by Highland Park or the Richardson Ranch high-speed grinder. Here's some nice darker pieces. Almost got the ultramarine going on here. $12 each. These are great. Didn't quite get the dome on this one, so it's a little bit less shiny in the middle than it is on the side. But still pretty nice. It's going to be super easy to touch up. Cactus chrysocolla. I've never heard of this material before. You see here, this cab is grooved. You can set this in silver just as easily as if it wasn't grooved, but then you could just lay a wire of gold or silver, twist a bail, and you're done on a beautiful wire wrap that showcases the material, not really the metal, which is what I like. Yeah, it looks like all of these are grooved. If anyone wants to know how to groove these, check out my video on grooving cabochons. I use a cheap, like $80 Griffin glass, stained glass grinder. And yeah, it's very easy to do the grooving. Very nice. Some more Royal Imperial Jasper from Zacatecas, Jalisco area. I love this stuff. It's where my family's from in Mexico. It's special to me. I have a great story of this material I'll share with you folks another time. Love this stuff. That's $8 each. Here's some more Royal Imperial Jasper from Jalisco, Zacatecas area. Very cool. Oaxaca Dolomite. $6 each for the Oaxaca Dolomite. Never heard of this material, but I would love to go to Oaxaca. Oh wow, I wonder how much these are. $8 each? That is not bad for this banger. Make a big old bolo, king's bolo out of this thing. This one's got some nice crystallinis inside of it here on the side. Very nice. I think this one's my favorite of the batch. Kind of looks like they take it to maybe 600 or maybe 1,000 grit. I wouldn't be surprised if they're using silicon carbide belts instead of diamond machines. But it's a great finish. For sure. Dino bone. I had to cut the audio due to some music stuff in the background. Someone was playing the Beatles. These dino bones are $6 each, which is a pretty great deal. It seems like there's a lot of reds and browns and blacks in here. I'm used to cutting the reds, the blues, and the yellows. I usually charge between like $3 to $4 a gram, making some of these pieces what I would consider closer to $25 to $40. So $6 definitely is a steal for these dino bones. Really good cell structures, simple shapes, but pretty nice for $6. Here's a little tray full of white moss agates for $3. I don't really enjoy cutting this material, but for $3, you know, you can barely buy a bottle of water here. So, you know, you could buy this whole tray really cheap, make a bunch of rings. Here are some stabilized sand dollars. I've seen a lot of people cut these in the past, and these pieces are pretty unique because the little sand dollar star is kind of like popping up through the cab itself. All of the sand dollars I've ever seen have been stabilized, and this material is no exception. It's hard to see through the camera here, but there's like a big guava glue right in the middle of it. But for $3 to $6, it's very cool. You can make some super cool stuff out of these little guys. All of them are kind of like free-form bean-shaped, but they're pretty nice. I really like them. I've never cut one myself. Citrine and amethyst, not ametrine like Bolivianista. Kind of just window polished, and maybe you'd use this as a cab and have the rough side out. Maybe you'd use like a step bezel to make a pendant out of this shiny side and leave the back side rough. This citrine does look a little heat treated. It probably is heat treated citrine, but it's nice. And for $4 each, that is a deal. Even though they are simple squares and stuff, they are polishing the sides. It looks great. I love the natural little termination on the side. Very cool. How much? Oh wait, sorry, I think it has a price on it. Oh man. Yeah, I like to carve eagles out of this material.
Yeah, it's like just a sample, like how it used to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you folks ever, when you get it, you always cut it? You never sell the rough?
From this, no.
Yeah, it's just so much more money to be made by making it into cabs. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Ruben Medina behind the Kachina loves this material. I'm on the hunt for him. He's looking for some of this stuff. This is a particularly great piece because a lot of this material nowadays that's affordable gets really flaky and will grow in like sheets and can't be carved, and this is a super solid piece, but unfortunately it is not for sale. But it is stunning nonetheless. I love this stuff.
Do you have like a YouTube channel?
Yeah, Lapidary Dave. I do the Tucson show and the Denver show.
Oh, really?
And so when really nice folks like you don't run me away, I love to just talk about the material and tell people like how to cut it and what I think about it. But you guys have some great prices.
Thank you. I'm gonna look for your channel.
Do it, Lapidary Dave.
Lapidary Dave?
Yeah. Parrot wing chrysocolla from Mazatlan, Sinaloa area, I believe. Love this stuff. These are $6 for the small pieces, $12 for the medium, and $18 for the larger pieces. Honestly, I could easily get $18 for these smaller pieces if I cut them. These folks are absolutely awesome in their prices. I love it. I do prefer to cut my own, but some of these are grooved. Let me find one. I had one in my hand here.
I'm sorry.
Maybe it was my imagination and it wasn't grooved, but these could easily be grooved because of how such a high dome is on these. I love parrot wing chrysocolla from Mazatlan, Sinaloa, Mexico area. A lot of the material that I can afford to buy rough doesn't have all the colors. It usually just has the green and the red. But let's find something like this, which showcases all the colors, I think is probably what most people are after if they know this material. Crazy lace agate. I love cutting this material. $14 each. It's not the easiest material to cut. Again, this probably works best if you're using silicon carbide over diamond, or at least for larger pieces. Love this stuff. The rough can be pretty expensive, so perhaps it would be easiest to just buy this material already cut where you can see all the figuring and all the colors, then hunting down the color in a piece of material that you don't really know what's inside. I actually really like the undercuts on here on all the different little crazy lacy parts. Very cool. Purple opal, perhaps not Tiffany stone. I don't know much about other locations of purple opal or what I think they call bertrandite. It could be, bertrandite and Tiffany stone could be different, but I really like it. I love this stuff. Oh, this one's got some nice quartzy looking stuff on the sides there. $8 each for this material. If you bought it all, I'm sure they'd give you a deal. Rhodochrosite, $1.50 a gram. That is not bad at all. I often charge more than 3 times, maybe 4 times that. And these are really nice. A lot of the material that I'm cutting for 4 times this price will probably be a lot more orange than this pink. I wonder if they get it from Rhodochrosite? The Argentinian company. It could be from Minas Capelitas, Argentina, but I do believe that it comes from different places. My favorite rhodochrosite are the pieces that you could tell used to be little stalactites. Don't really see any in here. Maybe right here. There's definitely a lot of figuring in play in different variations of this material. I don't see a lot of this black stuff a lot. Nice that they polish the backs. This material does grow with pyrite sometimes. I think they call it lion's mane rhodochrosite. This is a great cut. A lot of the stuff I get is more closer to this color pink than this brighter pink right here. Very nice. This is a great price for turquoise. Definitely stabilized. I wonder what it is. Is it Campitos? Is it Nakazari? What a great price. I charge a lot more for the material I cut, but they probably get such large batches that it's just, they're making just as much or more profit from charging this awesome price. Is Campitos turquoise or?
Ese es de Campitos.
Is it Nakazari or Campitos?
No, it's Campitos.
Very nice. Thank you.
You was right.
Mucho le gusta. I love it. Love Campitos. It's definitely known for having the pyrite inside of it right there. This clear spot is the actual stabilization, that is glue right there on the end. But you could get rid of a lot of that with some silver or whatnot. You can definitely tell that they're probably using silicon carbide wheels on a lot of this material by these super high dome flat walls. Love the bezel. Love it. Great for silversmithing. I could stay at this tray for a while, but there's so much to see, and I just got to the show. And here, this is Kingman turquoise. It looks like this little piece of Campitos kind of strayed away from the tray. But I've cut thousands and thousands of this variation of Kingman turquoise, stabilized Kingman. They want $2.95 a gram. I charge between $4 and $6 a gram. Definitely a great deal. These folks are awesome. I think the family definitely does the cutting, or they hire the same cutter to do multiple pieces. I love the yellow Kingman.
Sí, hay profesores en la tele y eso, hasta la misma gente adulta está tomando clases porque es gratis, o sea, puedes aprender, sí, claro. Los abuelos están tomando clases.
The backside here is a little domed, but it definitely probably sits flat enough to not rock too much inside of your silver.
Aquí puedes hacer todo.
This is probably also Kingman. I definitely think it is. This is actually Varisite and not Kingman at all. But for $2.95, definitely can't complain. It looks like the Lucian Varisite, where pieces like this definitely looks like stabilized Kingman to me. I love it. Looks super great. Looks fantastic inside of jewelry. I don't know if it's color enhanced, but it's definitely a great price. Good material. Good old Lapidary. Many of you folks know I don't really enjoy cutting this material because the overseas cutters get to cut such large pieces that they can find the flash a lot easier than someone like me who's buying a lot smaller pieces, and then they just make every cab absolutely stunning, where I have to hunt the flash and get lucky and follow the flash, and it's just kind of not worth it for a lot of Western cutters. There's no price on this material. Good old Larimar. Looks like some nice middle grade, $1.95 a gram. 2 years ago at the Denver Gem Show, maybe it was 3 years ago, there was a gentleman selling some middle grade like this for 14 cents a gram, rough. And I wish I bought them out. It would have cost like $300 to buy them out. I ended up buying 2 really nice pieces, maybe his 2 best pieces, for 14 cents a gram. I never cut them, I just look at them, and it was definitely a shoulda, woulda, coulda moment. Love Larimar from the DR. Looks like there's still some dopping, whatever they dopped with on the back here. Maybe it's super glue or maybe it's some kind of epoxy, but really nice stuff. And a great price for this middle grade. I love this piece in particular. It doesn't really have the figuring, these little lines that the other pieces do. So to the untrained eye, I don't think most people would know this is even Larimar. It almost looks like Amazonite. This particular piece. These are dead giveaways. Very nice. Some people don't like the greens. I really like the greens. I like when I have a large piece that is just full of greens. At $1.95 a gram, I can imagine this one would be, oh, pushing $60 at least. There's some nice, oh, these are fire opals from Jalisco. This piece is cool. It's got nice clear opal, no fire. It's kind of unique. I love that it's so clear. It almost works like a natural doublet where it's popping through the back. These are $6 each. For $6 each, there is a lot of great pieces that are worth a lot more than that. I think when it comes to Mexican fire opals, not always the pieces that are super blingy, like this, are the best for the money. But sometimes finding the pieces that have the most opal with the least amount of crazing, for $6 a piece, there's maybe, you know, dozens and dozens of pieces in here that easily could be sold outside of the gem show for $40 or more. And the further you get from the larger gem show spots like Denver, Tucson, Buena Vista, the more money it's worth. You could probably sell these in the UK for over $100 each. Very cool. I think this one's definitely worth a lot more than $6. Where a piece like, like this, which has a lot of color, but a bit of crazing, might not be the best deal, but best bang for the buck for $6. Different strokes for different folks. Sometimes people would rather have less opal with more color. I don't know. Could go on and on forever. Love the Rutile quartz from Brazil. This material was going for a lot of money at the Tucson show rough. I think the best deal I found it was between $150 and $200 a kilo. The gentleman was definitely trying to take me for a ride at first. I got to know him. We talked Brazilian music, and he eventually came down. But for $4 each, it's kind of just better to buy the pieces you like than to worry about buying the rough and having a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't have any rutile.
I think they're better than what you're looking at.
I love the Tabasco baby geodes. It's kind of hard to see in the shade here. I'm gonna pull it over, take them to the light. But they're stunning little baby geodes, full of color. Looks like they're $4 a pair. Not bad. I see a lot of people who like to wire wrap these and make earrings out of these. You probably have to flatten the back in order to set them in some kind of metal, but they're still nice. I would love to buy a couple kilos of the raw geodes. It'd be so easy to make a lot of money cutting them live on social media. Oh, and since they're so small, they'd be incredibly easy to polish on a flat lap or something. Some beautiful fire agate from Aguascalientes, Mexico. There's quite a scene here in America now for cutting this. Back in the day when I first got into the scene, you'd see a lot of cabs of this, which really doesn't do this material any justice. You have to serve it with like a Dremel rotary tool or flex shaft. Good stuff. And what's fun for a lot of people is you can buy a piece for a decent price, and then you can go back and recut it yourself, get 5, maybe 10, 20 times the amount of value from the piece that you bought after you recut it. Looks like some of these pieces, like this piece right up here, has just simply been cut and polished on a lapidary wheel, which really doesn't serve this material, but it is a good way to show the potential of the material for people who want to recut it. And by looking at this particular booth, you can bet your bottom dollar that these are a great price to begin with. So even just cutting them on the wheel are probably, you know, a lot less than you could probably get them at other places like Tucson. There's no price on these larger pieces, but these are $48 each. Pretty good price. That's about what I charge for that size. $18 each for these ones. They look like they have a lot less fire and more just serving smaller pieces with any kind of color. And these are $38 each. This kind of looks like the best batch. I don't really know if you folks can tell through this silly little GoPro, but I think these are my favorites out of the batch, even though they're not the largest. Love that high dome cab right there, little square thing. You could probably take these 2, 3, maybe 4 steps further in polishing. They probably just take it to 1200 or 3000 before they hit it with some cerium oxide or something. Gotta love the Aguascalientes fire agate. All right. So nice of the Rock Zone for letting me film here. If you're here during the Denver Gem Show the next couple days, I don't know if they're doing it the full 2 weeks, make sure to check them out. Tell them you saw the video. Nice. Lion's Paw Spiny Oyster Shell. Hey, my friend, do you have the rough geodes of these for sale? Do you have the rough ones, not cut? No. Okay, thank you. I would love to buy a couple kilos of these rough Tabasco geodes. Perhaps these are pieces that didn't really pair up very well, or didn't polish up really well. There's no price on the bin, but there's a lot you can do with these. I love them. The spiny oyster shell is $3 each. This material in the rough isn't the most expensive, but I do not like cutting it. It's pretty icky. There's a lot of strychnine and other stuff in the shells that can really, you know, hurt you in the long run. There's a famous story of a lady that made sculpture out of oyster shell, and she worked it so much that she started to become paralyzed on one side of her body. I don't know if it's from the strychnine that's inside of the shell, but she didn't realize it until it was much too late. So when I do work spiny oyster shell, I prefer to buy the cabs already cut.